Here we go. Hello, good evening, and welcome to episode number 69 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I'm your host, Joe Laney Pavlon. Dan Ford and Justin Hebert. Justin will be here a little bit. He's running late. But Danny, how's it going?
I'm all good, man. Welcome to podcast, guys.
And we have a lot in store, a lot in stock. Heading into this one. Pretty quiet race weekend, but we still had our usual NASCAR lineup of events. Obviously, the Cup Series began the race weekend at Kansas, and pretty much that was all we had. But there's a lot to look forward to. Many changes have happened during this week, including schedule changes. We'll get into that later. Let's first recap what happened at Kansas for the Superstar Batteries 400, which was round 19 of 36. Denny Hamlin took another win in 2020. It's his fifth of the season, more than any other driver. He led 57 laps, started 10th, for his 42nd career win.
Yeah. That was gosh, man. That was an awesome race win for Denny Hamlin. Talk about 3 prior lead changes before the finish.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's between 3 drivers. It was between Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex Jr., Kevin Harvick, and Denny Hamlin, both.
Brad Keselowski.
And also Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney was out of he finished 20th. Let me go down the list. Brad Keselowski finished second after winning stage 2, led 30 laps, started 5th. Third place was Martin Truex Jr., the New Jersey Fury, as Brock Beard would say back in his old starting lineup videos in the early 2010s.
Oh, man. I love those.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch them too. He led 30 laps from 5th. Had a good car towards the end. Just cautions didn't line up in Truex's favor. Kevin Harvick really shot out of a cannon in that final restart, but just couldn't maintain any more of those laps than the 9 that he led. He did start on pole. Happy Harvick certainly had a car to beat, but many drivers could say the same on that. Eric Jones, who needs to cash in a good race and is under a microscope, probably a bigger microscope than anyone anticipated heading into 2020, finished 5th after starting 21st. Eric Almirola maintaining those consistent top 10s with another top 10. He started 3rd, finished 6th. Cole Custer, Almirola's teammate, finished behind him in 7th. So Cole Custer's really, really showing those mile and a halves are his cup of tea.
And he's been very, very consistent lately since his win at Kentucky.
Oh, for sure.
Which proves he is not only a dark horse, but a contender to be up front doing his crazy restarts.
That is right. Alex Bowman had a decent car, but cautions in alignment of his favor. He led 6 laps, started 6th, finished in the 8th spot. Kurt Busch started 9th, finished in the 9th spot. It was pretty stable the entire race. And William Byron, another could be victory for the youngster from Liberty University. He led 27 laps, started 15th. A caution pretty much ruined his chances of winning that race. But let's go down to some notables. Another driver, obviously, longing to get a win, that's Kyle Busch. Stage 1 winner, led 52 laps, started 8th, finished 11th. Rowdy's getting there.
Yeah, he is getting there slowly but surely. I think it's a matter of time before he gets a race win.
Let me continue on here. Ryan Blaney finished 20th after leading 15 laps, started in the 4th spot. Jimmy Johnson retired and finished 32nd after starting 20th. Another race where Johnson had to come to terms with reality. There, it was not a good sight for the
Yeah,
seven-time champion.
it was such a heartbreaking sight to see him getting collected with drivers like the Benedetto and Christopher. I think it was the Christopher Bell and the Benedetto during that wreck
Yeah,
where they were going 3 wide, and unfortunately putting him in a spot where he has to retire. And now he's pretty much out of contention to make the chase or the playoffs.
we'll get into that later because there are many drivers who are just outside the cut line. Joey Logano retired after contact. He started second, retired on lap 176 after a crash, led 27 laps. Another close go around for the 2018 champion. Matt DiBenedetto finished 36 after retiring on the same lap as Logano. Bubba Wallace had contact with Matt Kenseth and never recovered, finished 37th out in the race. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished last. Another driver that needs to find a miracle in order to make the 16 driver playoffs. So with that said, the number of drivers in danger has only risen since Thursday night's race. Here are the drivers locked into the playoffs after 19 races have been complete. Denny Hamlin leads the chart with 5 wins. Kevin Harvick has 4 victories. Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano share 2 wins, so the 3rd and 4th seeds. Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., Alex Bowman, Austin Dillon, and Cole Custer now make 10 drivers locked in based off victories.
I'm back.
How's it going, Justin?
I'm good. I just had to get a graduation gift that Alex got for me because, yeah, he just dropped that off quickly.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, wait, my hat. I forgot. Yep.
All right. We're just going through the playoff standings. So 10 drivers are guaranteed in through wins. Now, these drivers have to work a little harder. Maybe not the first 3 on this list. Eric Almirola has 134 points above the cut lines. Kyle Busch has 120 points over the cut line, and his brother Kurt has 1 point less, so 119 for him. And then it starts to get slimmer.
Yeah.
Cliff Boyer plus 42, Matt DiBenedetto plus 35. So maybe 1 or 2, like a horrible DNF could instantly change the picture for someone like Boyer or DiBenedetto. And of course, no matter what, it's always going to be eggshell walking for William Byron, who's plus 10 above the cut line. And then here are the drivers 17th through 20th outside the chase if it were to start today. Or playoffs. Whoops. Tyler Reddick minus 10. Imagine if he won Texas. This whole thing would have been Reddick and Dillon's spot, and probably Dillon and Reddick's spot. They were running adjacent before that happened. Eric Jones minus 12. Jimmy Johnson minus 18. Now Eric Jones really banked off of Jimmy Johnson. Johnson's bad run was very important for Eric Jones to have a chance to make the playoffs if he can't find victory lane.
Yeah.
And Bubba Wallace might just need a miracle at this point. He's minus 100.
Yeah.
So with that said, there are 7 races left in the regular season. And now we know who's in, who's out.
Yeah.
Which driver that does not have a win locked is at the greatest risk of losing their spot. So basically from seeds 11 through 16, which driver has the greatest risk of losing?
I feel like it's William Byron because William Byron is not consistent. he's so like he's not the best this season. He's inconsistent at points. New Hampshire is not his best track. Like, it's just if he could be consistent, it would be good. But
He'll be good. He'll be somewhere like 15th or
yeah,
14th or 15th in points.
yeah,
right
but
now.
yeah, but it's his inconsistency. If he starts being more inconsistent, but I don't think he can make it if he's inconsistent.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Johnson, man.
Yeah.
He's just had bad luck here and there. When you know that feeling
Yeah,
when you're very close to getting something that you want, and you like get swiped away from you. That's Jimmy Johnson right now. And there are how many left? How many races left before the playoffs start?
7.
7. He needs to step it up, man. He really does. Because at this point, you really don't want to end your career like this. And I'm a Johnson fan myself, and I'm saying that.
So here are the tracks that are next. Obviously, we have the New Hampshire 301 this weekend, but in the long run, we'll have 2 Michigan races, the Daytona Road Course, 2 Dover races, and Daytona Speedway 400 miles.
yeah,
That basically those races are what's left. It's confirmed by NASCAR. We can't really have that same conversation with Xfinity and trucks. Well, we can hypothetically know where they stand. But as for the Cup Series, we know where the definitive end of the regular season is. So New Hampshire will be this weekend. And of those drivers, and I put the question in the live chat for you viewers, I want to hear your takes on them. Which drivers beneath the cut line can get in and how? So let me go down the list here. Tyler Reddick, of course, down that list. But then Eric Jones, Jimmy Johnson, Bubba Wallace. Beneath Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, John Hunter Nemechek, Ricky Stenhouse, Ryan Newman, Ty Dillon, Matt Kenseth, Corey LaJoie, and Daniel Suarez. That's basically your top 30. You need to win in the top 30.
Yeah, but
regular season spot to get in. Which driver from 17th to 30th?
By far, Reddick. By far, Tyler Reddick.
Yeah,
it shows. I think it just shows that he's been up front most of the time. He's been very consistent. And he's just at that position where he can get a win. Damn, he nearly almost won at Texas.
Yeah,
just Texas. Talladega on a stage, led many laps, was in it to win it.
A lot of people. Yeah, exactly.
Homestead, 4th place, had a very fast car.
Yeah, a lot of people are sleeping on Tyler Reddick now. Yeah. Don't be fooled now. Just because he drives for RCR, which most of you people say is a very inconsistent team, true, but they're very much improving. I think they're not the team to be slept on right now.
Yeah.
Justin, who do you have?
I feel like Tyler Reddick because he's been more consistent than Eric Jones. Eric Jones, inconsistent. Like you never know if he's going to finish good or bad. Like Eric Jones, like last year, I know he won at Darlington last year before the playoffs, but he was more consistent last year. This year, he's inconsistent, which you never know if he's going to do good. Like some weeks he does good for like a couple weeks, then more bad races, then one good week, and then more bad races. Like it's inconsistency there.
Yes, and I was about to say, while Tyler Reddick might be a good pick for the drivers beneath the cut line to get in, Eric Jones might just have that chance. He's a great driver. This season should not take away his talent. But the big red flag is that he's not finished in the top 10 more than 2 consecutive times in a given part of 2020.
Yeah.
He'll finish in the top 10 twice in a row and then finish somewhere in the 20s.
Yeah,
Or in one case, 11th.
Yeah,
11th, which was the Coke 600.
Yeah, there's some drivers that are way too inconsistent. Like, there's drivers, you have to be consistent, which is a fact because, Brett Keselowski, he hasn't won since Bristol. Brett Keselowski hasn't won since the Bristol race in May. He's second in points. The reason he's still in second, he's really consistent. You have to be... I know it's win and you're in, but it's not just winning. Other than wins, you can't be winning and DNFing the next week after your win. You have to be consistent. Like, Brett Keselowski hasn't won since Bristol. But the reason he's still in second in points, he's consistent compared to other drivers. You have to be consistent.
Right. Consistency is the name of the Penske game.
Yeah, like, you see Brett Keselowski right now, Ryan Blaney. Logano's not doing too bad either. Like, Penske, they know what they're doing. Like, they're more consistent. You got to be consistent. Because you could have Hendrick Motorsports, which sometimes they're consistent, sometimes they're not. Like, you can't have those moments like Alex Bowman got his first top 10 in a while at Kansas. Because sometimes it was inconsistency, like car combination, the non-perfect setup, and also
flow of cautions.
Yeah,
that last caution did not help him nor teammate William Byron.
And also accidents. That's another thing. Sometimes Bowman gets into accidents like Texas. Denny Hamlin got loose underneath him, and Bowman was the car on the outside, got on the wall, and obviously got suspension damage. It's like there's some races that he just wants to be consistent. And remember when we had practice sessions and all that before? Remember last year in New Hampshire, Alex Bowman had blew an engine and damaged the floor of the car in his primary. The backup car, he crashed in final practice, so they had to get Johnson's backup car.
Basically, the point Justin is making is that there's no mulligans. You get one car, one chance, one race.
Yeah.
In this weekend's case, 301 miles. You make it or you break it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't.
That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get more into the Cup Series conversation when we predict the New Hampshire race later. So round 20, 31 will be the next race, the New Hampshire 301 this upcoming weekend. Now let's move over to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, which was the Kansas 250, round 17 of what is still a 31 race tour.
Yep.
Brandon Jones, who scored his first career win at this track a year ago, back in the fall, repeats once again, this time for his third career win.
Yep.
Brandon Jones led 10 laps. He really shot out of a cannon in that green-white checker overtime finish. He did start second, but was pretty much a non-factor, of course, because qualifying was
the draw.
But nonetheless, victory lane is always something special.
And also, if people don't know, Brandon Jones was not in the top 5 on the restart. He was 7th. He restarted all the way back, P7, and he got the first. He got good runs and all that. Ryan Sieg up front on those older tires kind of didn't help Ryan Sieg. But yeah, and Cindric was not the best because, he had a little bit of damage from when he hit the wall when Harrison Byrne took the lead. Yeah, he still had the damage, and Brandon Jones got the massive good restart, charged through the field, and took the win, which really impressive.
I was not expecting that out of Brandon Jones, honestly. I thought it was just going to be the two top drivers, Ryan Sieg and Austin Cindric, and out of nowhere, Brandon Jones comes from 7th to 1st. Like, how? How do you do this?
I was
What a drive for
yeah.
Brandon Jones, and great
Yeah.
job to Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yep, they finally get a win after Ford's dominance with Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric. The first non-Ford win was with Brandon Jones since
Phoenix?
the last time a Toyota
Kyle
won.
Busch,
No,
Charlotte.
Yeah,
No.
Kyle Busch
Harrison
was-
Burton
No.
Homestead race.
Homestead, yeah,
Homestead, yes.
because Briscoe won Homestead Race 2. He won at what was after Homestead?
Talladega.
Talladega, yeah.
Talladega was Chevy. No, Chevy. Haley was, and then after that was Briscoe for those other Pocono and Indy road course. Then Cindric 3 in a row. The three next races was Cindric, and then finally Toyota wins since Harrison Byrne. And the last time another make than Ford won was with Haley at Talladega. So it was a good win for that number 19 team. Their last win since Phoenix when Brian Jones passed Kyle Busch and took the win, which that was impressive.
A lot of heads that day.
Yeah, it was.
And Harrison Byrne did pass Kyle Busch for second.
Let's get on with the results here. So we were talking about Brandon Jones and Austin Cindric, however. This has got to be one of the more dejecting second place finishes after leading both stages and 131 laps from fourth off the grid, more than any other driver. Austin Cindric was about to do something that hasn't happened in 37 years when Sam Ardlast accomplished this back in 1983, win 4 consecutive races in the NASCAR Busch Series. Well, now Xfinity.
Yeah.
That's what Sam Ard did. Obviously, it's a very accomplished. I know something similar happened in 2009. Ron Hornaday Jr. won 5 consecutive Truck Series races in the 2009 season during the summer portions.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, it's all unthinkable. Winning a race is hard enough.
But 5 in a row?
Right. But let's go back down here. Harrison Burton led 8 laps. Had a very good car towards the end. Just a few cautions didn't go his way. But still, third place finish nonetheless. Led 8 laps, started 5th. Ryan Sieg led 25 laps. Had a very good strategy, coming home in the 4th spot after starting 16th. Ross Chastain led a single lap and started 7th. Came home 5th. Justin Haley finished in the 6th spot. Decent top 10 effort for the Kaulig Racing team. Daniel Hemrick had a top 5 car until the end when cautions didn't fall in his favor. Hemrick finished 7th. Michael Annett didn't lead a lap, but he did start. He did draw a pole.
Yeah.
Riley Herbst 9th, and Justin Allgaier, who started 11th, finished in the 10th standing. 10th, and here are the standings. I know Allgaier is just up and down this year.
Yeah.
Austin Cindric is the points leader, 4 points over Chase Briscoe.
Yep.
Minus 86 and 3rd is Noah Gragson. Minus 60 and 4th is Ross Chastain. In 5th, minus 130 is Justin Haley. Minus 135 and 6th, Harrison Burton. Justin Allgaier is 7th. Michael Annett, 8th. Brandon Jones, 9th. Riley Herbst, 10th. And here are the last 2 drivers as the playoffs have 12 drivers. 11th is Ryan Sieg. 12th is Brandon Brown.
Yeah.
They're going to be off next week, but they'll be back for the Road America GP on August 8th.
Yep.
For round 18.
And also that people are still wondering about where's Myatt Snyder? Recently, Myatt Snyder has not been doing good, like consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not been too consistent, which is kind of hurting him, which he's dropped in points. But he has to chase down, not just focusing on Brandon Brown. He's now behind. Now he's behind Jeremy Clements in points. He has to catch Jeremy Clements and Brandon Brown, which Jeremy Clements, you got to pass him in points, which it's kind of hard when you're like when Mike Steiner runs for RSS.
Oh, by the way, who won the race at Road America in 2017?
Jeremy Clements. And
There you go.
some races, Jeremy Clements just performs, which really helps him trying to chase Brandon Brown. But if Brandon Brown has mistakes, like remember Kentucky, Brandon Brown crashed. If Brandon Brown has mistakes like that, Jeremy Clements will be catching him. Because if Clements is consistent, Brandon Brown's not. It's not going to help Brandon Brown.
Right, it'll be their second road course race of the season, and honestly, one mistake can be game over.
Yep.
There's that. We'll get into the truck series now. They had two races for the Kansas 200, which was rounds 9 and 10 of 19 so far, 19 races. Obviously, we still don't know when their regular seasons are going to end.
Because
that's pending.
Yeah, because there's two tracks that got canceled, which was Eldora and Canadian Tire. We don't know the latest race we know for the trucks is at Gateway on August 30th. That's the farthest we know about truck series schedule. We don't know what's past that.
And we don't even know how many races total there's going to be. NASCAR hasn't confirmed anything yet for those two series, so let's just pick from where we know. Race 1 looked like this. Austin Hill.
Yep.
Scored his 5th career win, first of the season. It's hard to believe that was his first win of the season with how good he's been all year long. While on stage 2, led 65 laps.
Yeah.
Started 6th. Very good run for the Hattori Racing team. Brett Moffitt, another really good effort. Finished 2nd, led stage 1 and 21 laps from 2nd. Had a very good truck, but it just wasn't meant to be. It was hard to stop Austin Hill. That's for sure. Grant Enfinger finished 3rd after starting 8th. Matt Crafton led 2 laps, started 17th. And Derek Kraus scored his 2nd career top 5. If you're watching, congratulations. Kraus started 15th. We got to have Derek Kraus on here one of these days.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Zane Smith finished 6th, led 17 laps, started 7th. Ben Rhodes led 3 laps, started at 5th. Johnny Sauter started 18th, finished in the 9th spot. Oh, I forgot. Sheldon Creed finished 8th. And Todd Gillen, who led 15 laps from 3rd, finished 10th. Now, here are 3 drivers that finished outside the top 10. Christian Eckes from the pole led 10 laps, finished 13th. And these 2 drivers retired. 33rd, Tyler Ankrum. Retired, and Ross Chastain, who led 1 lap, started 11th, retired, finished 34th. Now, on the race 2, Matt Crafton, last year's champion, who, believe it or not, hasn't won since 2017 at the Eldora race, finished 1st for the 15th time in his career. It's hard to believe Matt Crafton hasn't won that in so many years, but he had 23 laps to do it and had to fight off a feisty Christian Eckes.
Yeah, when I saw Matt Crafton on Fleck, I'm like, oh my! I just remembered when Crafton was up front. Remember what happened at Homestead when he was leading and Austin Hill took the lead? I'm like, oh no, hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully it's. But I'm like, oh my! I was so shocked that I saw Matt Crafton being competitive. Like, I know Sheldon Creed had an advantage early until he destroyed his truck by hitting the wall a couple times, but him holding off Christian Eckes, which Christian Eckes was pressuring him, and Matt Crafton held on, was really good for that 88 team.
Yeah, very impressive. Now he has a chance to go for a record-tying 4th championship.
Yep.
Which, of course, last time a driver reached its 4th title was Ron Hornaday Jr. back in 2009.
Yep, and also, if people don't know what's going on there's also people are saying, they're talking about Ben Rhodes, but Ben Rhodes is consistent, so he's up there. Well, there's one ThorSport truck, which is not there. Johnny Sauter.
And it's surprising.
Oh,
Johnny
my.
Sauter
He's
had this
look,
kind of season.
Yeah, it's not the best. He won once last year at Dover, so that's his last win. Is Dover
It was
20?
rocky. It's been rocky. He had a more playoff experience with the Ford Ilmore engine. But let's continue on here with the results.
Yeah.
Christian Eckes led 6 laps, started third for the second time in his career. Best finish in the series. That happened actually last week. Last week in Texas.
Yep, Texas on
behind the boss, Kyle Busch.
Yep.
Brent Enfinger, another consistent run, finishing third. Tanner Gray led 3 laps, started 18th, finished 4th for his career best effort. And 5th place was Ben Rhodes, who led a lap from 9th off the grid. Austin Hill led 19 laps, started 15th, finished 6th. Derek Kraus, very good doubleheader for the Bill McAnally driver.
Yep.
Started 11th. How about Brandon Jones in the process? Now, Brandon Jones finished 8th after starting 2nd. Zane Smith, very impressive run. Won stage 1, won stage 2. Led 50 laps, started 10th, but finished 9th. He's getting close to that first win.
Yeah.
And Chase Purdy, who was pulled due to doubleheader rules, scored a 10th place for his career best finish. Well done for Chase Purdy. And now here are some of the notables. These drivers, now there were a lot of crashes. Insane crashes. Yeah. I'm glad those drivers got out without injuries. They were all okay. Sheldon Creed retired, finishing 26. Led 18 laps, started 8th. Brett Moffitt led 11 laps, started 14th, retired, finishing 27th. Tyler Ankrum, GMS Racing just couldn't catch a break. Ankrum started 33rd, retired, finishing 28th. Johnny Sauter started 7th, finished 33rd, another retirement. And Stuart Friesen, probably the biggest gut punch, led 3 laps, started 27th, and retired, finishing 34th. Now, let me get into the drivers here that really took the biggest beating. And it actually happened on lap 84. It was on a restart. Cody, it was the biggest crash, probably the biggest crash of the season so far in the Truck Series. Cody Warbaugh, Jennifer Jo Cobb, Spencer Davis, Johnny Sauter, Tanner Gray, 33. 33 is that right? Dawson Cram. Oh, no, Kevin Donahue. Kevin Donahue. Travis Pastrana, Natalie Decker.
What truck?
The 33. It was Kevin Donahue.
Yeah,
Natalie
because
Decker, Stuart Friesen, Clay Greenfield, and Robbie Lyons.
Yeah, that which we also had hard licks. Other than that, Rick, we had Corey Roper, Derek Kraus spun off turn 2, and Corey Roper hit the inside wall in his 04 truck. But that big one, a lot of Clay Greenfield was not happy on the radio. He was really not happy with Tanner Gray. And do you want to know what people like for the people about the small teams that are fans of smaller NASCAR teams started threatening Tanner Gray's truck? They wanted to destroy it enough. I'm like, I know that he did it, but it's a mistake. And Clay Greenfield wanted to restart up there with a truck that's not fast and have a crash.
That, basically, unfortunately, is the cost of making decisions in racing. But he had, a wizard of Jeff Hammond behind the box as a crew chief. So maybe, sometimes you can't just say everything was a mistake. But eventually, drivers and crew chiefs and team members, they all learn. So the standings look like this. Obviously, we still have no clue what this is going. But after 10 races, Austin Hill is the championship leader with 394 points. He pulls away over Ben Rhodes, 33 points, minus 50, tied for third. Christian Eckes, Zane Smith at 344 points. Brett Moffitt is behind 69 points at fifth. Matt Crafton, minus 73. 1 point over Grant Enfinger. Now, Crafton, of course, jumped up. He's locked in to contend for this championship. Sheldon Creed as well. Sheldon Creed, Grant Enfinger, 7th and 8th. Derek Kraus is 9th, minus 90. Great weekend for Kraus. Throws him back in the top 10. Remember, this year it's 10 drivers competing for the championship, not 8. And 10th place is Todd Gilliland.
Yeah.
Minus 105.
And
the
people's like
took the biggest blow.
Yeah.
Justin. Yeah. Had to be Tyler Ankrum, Johnny Sauter, and especially Stuart Friesen.
Yep.
And
Because
what were you saying?
I was saying about Johnny Sauter taking a big blow in points. Like this is not helping him trying to make the playoffs. Not helping. Same as Stuart Friesen. Same as Tyler Ankrum. Like these mistakes, getting into crashes. Basically, the thing about them, they want to make sure that they don't have any issues. Like no issues. Basically, they have to be consistent and like not when people are wrecking back and forth and all that. Basically, you don't want to wreck. Like, you want to make sure you're consistent. You don't want to be good on one lap, and then the next lap you have an issue. You basically have to be consistent. And also, some drivers push it too much. I've noticed...
I mean, the drivers like Austin... No. What you were saying, Justin?
I was saying about, like, some drivers push it too much, like, too early, and make their truck worse. Like, I've seen Stuart Friesen this year push the truck too much that he wears the tires and his brakes by using it too much. He uses the truck too much early and makes the truck worse. Same with Tyler Ankrum. They push it too much early and that they can't recover because the truck handling is worse than before.
That's why you have to be That's why you have to be smart.
Yeah.
So that you can have a truck, actually have a truck in the long run.
Yeah, because pushing it too early, at the end, your truck,
you're gonna be worn out.
Yeah, it's not gonna be handling good. It's gonna be loose everywhere, tight, loose. It's gonna be not the greatest handling.
All right, so with that said, let's go on to some of the other races that we've had in the weekend. I'll start off with the ARCA Menard Series for round 8 of what is a 17-race schedule. Kansas 150. Congratulations to Brett Holmes. The Munford, Alabama native is actually a kind of a local hero over there.
Yep.
With adoring fans, and after 68 races and 18 top 5s and 50 top 10s plus 107 laps led, this driver has finally won in the ARCA Menard Series. Brett Holmes led 82 laps to get the win in a non-factory supported Chevrolet.
Yep.
Winning over Ryan Repko. Then Riley Herbst led the other 18 laps in the race. Corey Heim finished in the 4th spot.
Yep.
Tanner Gray in 5th. Now, the standings look like this after 8 races. Michael Self has a 9-point lead over. Yes, Brett Holmes is actually a factor now. He really climbed the ladder.
Yeah, because
it hasn't looked too good for the drivers 3rd and 4th. Drew Dollar and Haley Deegan are now minus 34, minus 39. Tam Bach, minus 61.
Yeah, but like the thing about Brett Holmes, which was interesting, at the beginning of the season, they said they weren't sure of competing full time. Remember that. They were only supposed to run 15 races, but they started running consistent. Their bad finish is 13th at Phoenix. Other than that, he's consistent, which really helps with him running up front. Like him in up front running good helps Brett Holmes. Like I know people start laughing about him. People are still mocking him from him crashing down pit road 2018 at Talladega, but other than that, he has talent. He's consistent, and he's showing it.
I think he's very much improved going into 2020 this year.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to think that these higher up race teams aren't watching this. They clearly have eyes. They're watching what's happening on the racetrack, and they're taking notes. Oh, Brent Holmes that just won that race? Okay,
Yeah.
Keep him in consideration here. Maybe give him a factory deal.
Yeah.
A team like Hendrick Motorsports, put it through the system. But that's a great start. So the next race for ARCA, sorry to cut you off there, Justin. We're actually getting a doubleheader this weekend at Toledo for rounds 9 and 10.
Yeah, on Friday and Saturday. And also, you know, if people didn't know what episode podcast this is, it's the same number of starts that Brett Holmes won in. Brett Holmes won in his 69th start, which is really
how fitting.
That's
fitting.
Yes,
how
it is.
Fitting is it?
This podcast episode, and he won in his 69th start. That's really good.
Nice. Let's move on to MotoGP. Round 2 of the 2020 MotoGP World Championship was the Andalusian Grand Prix. Same track in Circuito de Jerez in Spain, which was the Spanish Grand Prix a week ago, but it was ran without probably the biggest name, Spaniard Marc Marquez, who was under surgery due to that horrible crash after round 1, and Marquez did not take place in the event. So here are the riders, we're talking MotoGP here, not Formula 1, that finished in paying positions. Fabio Quartararo won once again. He won the season opening Grand Prix of Spain, the Frenchman who is under a contract from Yamaha. Yamaha finished on the podium, all three of them. Maverick Vinales and, of course, Valentino Rossi, multiple champion, finished third. So Quartararo had the fastest lap and the pole position, getting 25 points in that effort. A 4-second victory over Vinales, and Rossi finished 5 seconds behind. Takaki Nakagami finished in fourth, the Japanese native, and his Honda scored 13 points in that effort. Joan Mir, the highest finishing Suzuki in sixth. Andrea Dovizioso in the highest finishing Ducati, sixth place. Paul Espargaro, highest finishing KTM in seventh. Alex Marquez, younger brother of Marc Marquez, in eighth. Johan Zarco finished ninth. Alex Rins 10th. Tito Rabbit 11th. Bradley Smith, the highest finishing Aprilia, in 12th. And Cal Crutchlow finished in the last points position 13th, scoring 3 points a lap down. So here are the riders' standings. 10 points separate Quartararo ahead of Vinales. Then with 26 points claimed is Dovizioso. Nakagami fourth, tied with Espargaro in fifth. Valentino Rossi in sixth. Decent podium run, but had to clean him for that retirement in race one. Manufacturer standings, Yamaha all the way.
These guys are just unstoppable.
They're 2 for 2 over Ducati, 26 points. Then third and fourth are tied. Honda and KTM with 19 points each. Suzuki in fifth with 11 points, and Aprilia is sixth with 5 points. Team standings is the Petronas Yamaha SRT with 61 points over the Monster Energy Yamaha MotoGP with 56 points. The Mission Winnow Ducati team is there with 33 points. The Pramac Racing team and the LCR Honda team are tied for fourth and fifth in the standings. And their next race will be on August 9th for the Grand Prix of Czech Republic in Brno. I think we're going to see Marquez finally return. And I shouldn't say the word finally because, we shouldn't see anybody rush an injury. But after that nasty accident in the Spanish Grand Prix and the attempt to race less than a week after that didn't go well, I think he made the right decision. Because if you look last year, Marquez had one retirement, and that was the one time he did not finish on the podium in 2019 en route to a championship.
Yeah.
So with that said, let's get into some of the events that we will be covering this upcoming weekend of motorsports. The NASCAR Cup Series will race at Loudon, New Hampshire for the New Hampshire 301 for race 20 of 36. Formula One British Grand Prix, the first Silverstone race of the season, will be back. We'll have two back-to-back weekend. That's there for race for the World Championship. F2 Silverstone 1 week 4. Sports cars, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the Road America Grand Prix round 4 of 11, and in Nürburgring the VLN, which is now called the NOS because people don't know how to adapt to a new name. Is round 4 of 8.
Yep. Which also and people, I just want to warn you, the entry list for New Hampshire has not been released, and people, Reed Sorensen's not going to win if he's in the field, okay?
That's James Davis in the 77.
Well, still, people are still saying Reed Sorensen for Tommy Baldwin's going to win. I'm like, Reed Sorensen, where is he going to get the speed? He's not fast. The car is slow. Tommy Baldwin's not running for wins. They're running for back markers. Just to let people know.
All right, let's go ahead and look at the entry list here. So this is round 2036. Last year, Kevin Harvick took the win.
Yep.
He's actually on a quest to win 3 in a row at this rate. First race was back in 1993. Rusty Walls took the victory. Jeff Burton and Kevin Harvick are tied for most victories at the track with 4 wins apiece over Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Jeff Gordon, Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Ryan Newman, and Tony Stewart, whom all have 3 victories. Joey Logano and Clint Bowyer share 2 wins apiece as well.
Yeah, and Jeff Burton is kind of the king of New Hampshire. Him and Kevin Harvick, they're just so
this track
good
is
at
kind of king for first wins. I mean, haven't we seen Ryan Newman, Joey Logano, Clint Bowyer getting their first wins there?
Well, Ryan Newman and Joey Logano is because of rain. If there was no rain, they would have not won.
But they all have decent careers.
Yeah, but like before. Like in 2009, like Joey Logano from the win in 2009. It took a while for him to win again in 2012. And then he started doing good at Penske. Joe Gibbs Racing, he was not the best in the Cup Series.
And when it comes to Ryan Newman, though, he excelled after that one.
Yeah, 2003.
Right?
Yeah, Newman, 8 victories in 2003. Yeah, he was really good in 2003. And people say Roush shucks, but I know he missed only 3 races, but he's still doing better than Chris Buescher. On a weekly basis, Newman outperforms Chris Buescher.
All right. So here are the teams that have most wins for the summer race, that is. Joe Gibbs Racing with 7 over Hendrick Motorsports with 5, Roush Fenway Racing with 4 wins. Team Penske has 3, along with Stuart Haas Racing and Robert Yates Racing with 2 wins. For the summer race at Loudon, for manufacturers, Ford leads the list off victories over. So Ford has 10 wins, Chevy has 8, Toyota with 5, Dodge and Pontiac with 2. Now, that said, who will win in New England?
Oof.
I think my pick is between 2 drivers, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Both have won, I think, twice, right? Well, Kevin Harvick has won here.
Kyle Busch has won 3 times. Kevin Harvick has won 4 times. A total of 7.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick to win in New Hampshire for a 5th year, for a 5th time.
A record-breaking win. I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick as well.
Okay. My pick, this driver, I do not like him. The thing about this driver is his attitude recently, but he is a champion. He has 1 championship to his name, which came.
Kyle Busch.
No, 1. He has 1 champion in his career, which is his champion came 3 years ago. The driver of the number 19, Martin Truex Jr. Yep, I feel like he's gonna get his first win at New Hampshire.
That's gonna be a popular win if he does.
Oh yeah.
There are fans allowed.
Yep.
This weekend.
Yeah.
So you can definitely tell he's gonna get that local support. With that said, it will be a very interesting race. So since we're getting close to the playoffs, which driver that does not have a win will come out of Loudon with a very good point state? And we're going to talk about these drivers in 2 categories. One, not locked into the playoffs, but in the top 16. And then the next category for drivers outside the top 16, still trying to find it. So which driver inside the top 16 without a secure spot with a win will have a good point stay at Loudon?
I say Kyle Busch, because Kyle Busch has run good at New Hampshire. Because other drivers have not ran good at New Hampshire, but I feel like Kyle Busch, if he could be consistent, the car could be not bad and he's consistent throughout the race, I feel like he's going to gain points and be more gain points and be more safer into the cutoff.
New Hampshire is a secret home for upsets.
Yeah.
Mark Vickers in 2013. Matt DiBenedetto in 2020.
What? Matt DiBenedetto?
Yeah.
A long shot?
That's interesting.
DiBenedetto is pretty much a long shot.
That's interesting.
Going into New Hampshire, it's a long shot, bro.
So was Brian Vickers in 2013.
Well, it's better than. Well, it's better. Well, yeah, I remember Brian Vickers 2013.
All right, Danny. Which driver not locked in but in the top 16 will have a great point stay at Loudon?
I'm gonna have to go with Byron. Definitely Byron. Yeah, I think the thing is with Byron is that he has the speed. I'm not gonna bash him that he's slow. He's not slow. He has his speed. He just needs to be consistent.
Yeah.
Going into Loudon.
Yeah.
So I think if he finishes somewhere in the top 10 or top 5, perhaps, even though this is not his best track, I think he could find ways to improve and have a great points day at the end of the day.
All right. With that said, now let me go into the next category. Which driver outside the top 16, between 16th and 30th, or between 17th and 30th, will have a great points day in New Hampshire, or some chance of winning.
I'm gonna have to go with Bubba Wallace, man. The guy is right there in 20th. We're just hoping for a miracle at this point.
Bubba Wallace,
If he could get a job done, finishing somewhere in the top 5.
this driver won 3 times at Loudon. He'll get a 4th. Jimmy Johnson.
Okay. For me,
You know what? I like that pick. Man. Even though he's in big trouble right now, I like that pick.
For me, I feel somebody between 17th and 30th for like to be better. I feel like this driver of the 20 car, who that 20 car did win at New Hampshire 11 years ago in 2009. I feel like Eric Jones. If Eric Jones could put the race good, I know he's not going to be up front like because of where he's going to be starting, but if he could be consistent throughout the stages, get the stage points, and be in the front, I feel like he has a better shot of getting enough points and getting momentum going to the doubleheader Michigan races.
Jones. Good one. Okay, with that said, let's move on over to Formula One. This upcoming weekend is round 4 of the 2020 Formula One World Championship at a famous Silverstone circuit for the British Grand Prix, which is now round 4 of 13 races. Yeah, we'll get into those extra races later on, but let's talk about what we have now. So last year, Lewis Hamilton scored the win, and this event has been every season since the very first modern World Championship event in 1950, won by Giuseppe Ferrari.
Okay, yeah.
Most wins, Lewis Hamilton, the hometown favorite. Unfortunately, you're not going to have that, that passionate crowd.
I think, absolutely. I have to say the same thing. Lewis Hamilton is going to get a victory.
Jim Clark, another Brit with 5 wins. Alain Prost, 5. Nigel Mansell, another British favorite. It seems like, being from the UK helps you win the British Grand Prix. Nigel Mansell, 4 wins. Jack Brabham, Niki Lauda, Michael Schumacher have 3 wins apiece. Jose Ferlin Gonzalez.
Oh, that guy.
Ascari, Sterling Moss, Jackie Stewart, Emerson Fittipaldi, Jacques Villeneuve, David Coulthard, Fernando Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, and Mark Webber all have 2 wins here. And I've noticed a lot of trends here. Usually drivers win consistently, or they win every other race in order to become a multiple winner at this track, or at this Grand Prix, that is, because they did run Brands Hatch in the past. As for constructors, most constructor wins, Ferrari, 16.
Well, they're slow this year.
In 2018.
Yeah, but they're slow.
McLaren, 14 wins. And McLaren is on the rise with the British driver and the British team at the British Grand Prix of Lando Norris. They have 14 wins. Williams, like I said, the Brits are just good here.
Well, they're not going to win.
Probably not this year. Lotus, 8, another Brit. Then Mercedes, 7 wins. Red Bull with 3. Cooper and Tyrrell, 2 victories apiece for 2 other British teams that used to compete in the World Championship. And Renault with 2 victories. So with that said, are we going to see another dominating race from Lewis Hamilton? Yes or no? Yes is the answer.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are.
I feel like he's just good at the track. Mercedes still has speed. They're not slow.
What could go wrong?
Well, Ferrari is still slow. It won't be annoying if Ferrari says we got new upgrades and the car is still slow. I'm like, if they say we got new
Car's a
upgrades,
wheelbarrow at this point.
if they say we got new upgrades, I'm like, and your car's still slow, there's a problem if they say we got upgrades. But if they're still slow, that means there's no upgrades. I think they upgrade things that are not good enough that the car's still painfully slow on the straights and the corners. I feel like Lewis Hamilton, possibly. Yeah, Lewis Hamilton, that 44 car. There's nobody's going to stop him. The only person is Bottas, but
I think the only person that's going to stop Lewis Hamilton is himself.
Yeah, because Ferrari is not going to be fast randomly because a lot of the team at Ferrari is not happy with the car being slow, which is, you don't want to have your cars being slow.
And of course, the quest for 91 is right there.
Yeah, it's getting closer and closer. He's getting closer and closer.
And the quest for 7 is right there.
He's getting to that too. So yeah, I have Lewis Hamilton winning.
But obviously, we know who might finish in first. But let's go down and look at other drivers that could get a podium finish here. So obviously, Valtteri Bottas, second in the World Championship, 58 points. Max Verstappen in third, 33 points for car 33. Lando Norris. Now, everyone seems to look at Lando Norris as a driver who will get multiple podiums this year. Driving McLaren. Which driver beneath the two Mercedes could get a podium?
Okay.
You're actually beneath Verstappen.
Okay. The person I feel that could get third, this driver, he drives for a faster car than last year. It is faster than last year. So it's not Ferrari, obviously, because they're not fast.
I know where you're going with this. Just tell me.
And it's not Perez. Lance Stroll is going to get a podium and piss Ben off.
Yes.
Yeah, Lance Stroll, he got a podium at Baku, which was in 2017. I feel like he could get a second one because the car is fast, obviously. It's basically, if you look up how fast that the Racing Point, the RP20, how fast it is, it's fast compared to last year. So yeah.
So, if the car is fast, does that mean the driver's fast?
Well, I feel like he's going to be... Well, the thing about Stroll is he could qualify good and race better. Perez sometimes just qualifies bad. Like, I've seen Perez once qualify, I think it was... Perez once qualified... Once Perez qualified, like, I think... Once he qualified 15th, and now running good, but, like, you gotta know how to qualify to get to the front.
But here's the thing. I think Checo could get a podium at the same rate here.
But I just don't know about the track that suits him. Like, some tracks don't suit him. Like...
Right, but at the same time, you know, he has 8 podiums.
Yeah.
And could get that 9th.
But I don't know.
We'll have to see what happens. But I just got to stick to my man, Lando Norris.
Okay, I thought you were going to go with Vettel. I'm like, no.
I'm a big fan of Sebastian Vettel. That's not a question.
But it's the car. Yeah, you saw how...
Not to mention the team is treating him like crap.
Well, at least, he did better than... Leclerc didn't even get points last race. Like, the car is so slow. I mean, slow. People say they're fast. I'm like, well, people are making jokes about. Do you want to know what people are making jokes about Carlos Sainz? Trying to figure out ways how to get fired from Ferrari. Trying to get hired for Williams. Trying to be a test driver for McLaren. It's like the car is. If the car can't be fast next year, I don't know what's gonna happen. if the car is still slow when Sainz goes.
Yeah, there is some chance for Ferrari to pick this
Well,
up, but it starts with themselves.
yeah, like their strategy, the inconsistent.
Binotto the clown needs to give a seat to someone else.
What? Well, people say Gunther Steiner's bad, but
Gunther Steiner, he's got his flaws, but at least there's some stability. At least both cars retire at the same time.
Well, not like Austria, where Vettel retired on the first lap, lap 4. That's when Leclerc went to the garage. But literally, it's kind of funny how.
Or in other words, they hit each other on the first lap.
Well, and I remember Austria. Literally, it was kind of funny how people like teams tweet about, oh, the lights are out. Literally, right after Ferrari put the lights are out, both cars make contact. Hashtag Seb5 is heading to the garage.
Oh God, that was so unfortunate.
Yeah, they literally posted the thing about the lights, and they're like, both cars made contact. I'm like, oh my God.
Imagine being the PR person how to just say it nicely. Both cars hit each other. Vettel is in the garage.
Yeah, and then
this guy is blue.
And then the next time, like Leclerc ends up in the garage with floor damage. It's like, wow. Like, it's just
okay. Let's just move on. What about some other drivers? What drivers do you think could get some points here? I know. Let's go to the 4 that have not scored points: Kimi Räikkönen, Nicholas Latifi, Roman Grosjean, George Russell. So we got an Alpha, 2 Williams, and Haas. Which of the 4 drivers I just mentioned will get their first point of the season?
okay. This driver, he's one of the his teammate has points already. His teammate has 1 point this season. I feel like Grosjean, because the thing about Haas is not the worst Ferrari. Alpha is more slower, but I don't know how that. Like the thing about Kimi Räikkönen, it's basically Räikkönen has to have pace, which if he doesn't have pace, it's not going to help. Like Hungary, he qualifies the slowest lap time in 20th. Basically, if he qualifies 20th, that's not going to help. So I feel like Grosjean's not qualifying last, which is a good thing. So he has more of a chance than Räikkönen. And the Williams, they look fast in qualifying, but their race pace is not the best. But the thing about Williams, they're fast in qualifying, which is a good thing. But it's the race. They can't manage
pace.
Yeah. It's like they're good in qualifying, but the race pace is different. But Grosjean has been decent in qualifying and the race pace. So I feel like Grosjean's going to get points.
It sure might be a close one, but for me, I'm going to go with this driver.
Oh, no.
Kimi Räikkönen will get points of the year because, this guy has at least, talent.
But it's just the car.
Hope. It's just the part. But here's the thing. Giovinazzi finished 9th at Austrian Grand Prix. Yet everybody, like half the field, were tired out of the race.
Yeah.
That's true, and Nicholas Latifi could have got points in that race.
Latifi could have got points.
But the thing about Williams, their racecraft and their qualifying is good. Like, you saw when Russell got 3rd in Q1 to get to Q2, which is impressive, but it's just the car in the race was slow. But at least they improved from last year. Last year, they were always qualifying in the last row. And it was always Russell out-qualifying Kubica. It was every race. But Russell's out-qualifying Latifi because Latifi's a rookie. But at least Williams improved from last year. That's a good thing. They've improved from last year.
All right. I think that's good enough for F1. Let's get into some endurance racing, shall we?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll start off with the Nürburgring. So obviously the 2020 VLN or NLS, which is actually called, continues on for another 4-hour race at the Nürburgring track. Round 4 is on August 1st, but here's the rest of the race season. Round 5, August 29th. Round 6, October 24th. So basically between August 29th and October 24th is the month of the Nürburgring 24 hours, which is announced to be held behind closed doors. This came out this past week. Then November 7th, and then November 21st. So every race is a 4-hour race except for round 5, which is a 6-hour event. So this one will be 4 hours. So there's your info on that. That's August 1st. So that's actually on Saturday. All right, and let's move on to the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. I need an entry list. So, for the 2020 WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, round 4 of 11 is at Road America. The road race showcase at Road America. And I have some facts. The first race was back in 1955, won by Phil Hill and a George E. Chilt Ferrari 750 Monza. Last year was won by the number 55 Mazda Team Yost.
Yep.
Now, as for constructor makes, most entries Porsche with 10 over Chevy with 8, Ferrari with 7, Audi with 6, Lola and Nissan with 4, Lister, Jaguar, Mazda, McLaren, Honda and Acura, Chaparral, and Maserati share 2 wins apiece. As for racing teams to win most amount of races, Briggs Cunningham Racing Team with 4. For drivers, 3 of them are tied with the most wins. 3 wins here. Augie Paps, Chuck Parsons, Jeff Brabham. So with that said, this is a sprint race, 2 hours and 40 minutes long. I need a entry list.
It's on the IMSA website. Like the IMSA website has it.
Oh, yeah, it came out actually 8 hours ago. 31 cars on the entry list overall. We'll have all 4 classes, DPI, LMP2, GTLM, and GTD.
Yeah. And Meyershank Racing is on the entry list this time.
Yeah,
how nice.
Yeah,
Here, I have the entry list. I'll send in the private chat for you guys. Go check it out. So DPI will have 8 entries. Obviously, the overall one contending class. 5 entries for LMP2.
Yep.
5 entries minus Starworks.
Starworks?
Yes.
What
They
happened?
pulled out.
Why are they still there then?
Well, just ignore them. GTLM, 6 entries, obviously 6 LMGTE cars.
Yeah.
2 Corvettes, 2 BMWs, 2 Porsches, and then the GTD class consists of 13 GT3s.
Heart of Racing Team is back after running the Rolex 24 at Daytona, that number 23. The 57 Heinricher Racing MSR Kerr-Agajanian 57. And the 86 Meyershank Racing with Kerr-Agajanian entries. Those are back on the entry list this week.
All right, so let's start off with the fastest class, the DPI. We got 8 of them. One of them will be winning this thing overall. Which driver is which team will that be?
Team Penske.
Which one?
Easily, Team Penske. The number 7.
Okay. Okay, my pick. This team, they have both of the drivers are experienced with racing. My pick is the number 5 Mustang Sibling Racing with JDC Miller Motorsports entry, driven by João Barbosa and Sebastian Bourdais.
Both drivers with rich success
Yep.
at this track specifically.
Oh no.
So
Who was
I
that?
think you have a good pick, but I'm going to go with this brand that they've been so good in the last few years. They have 2 wins. One was actually with a Lola back in the ALMS. The other was last year in the Yost team. Mazda Motorsport.
Ah,
Number
yeah.
77 with Tristan Nunez and Oliver Jarvis.
Oh, okay.
As for
Yeah.
LMP2, obviously with the removal of the 8 Tower Motorsport by Starworks or ECA, they're off the table. That means we have 4 entries in the class. My
Yeah.
pick for this category will be the number 81 Dragon Speed team with 10 Star as a sponsor. The drivers are Ben Hanley from Great Britain and Henrik Hedman from Sweden.
Okay. Let me just check something quick. Okay, my pick for the LMP2 is the number 52 PR1 Matheson Motorsports entry driven by Simon Trummer and Patrick Kelly.
How about you, Danny?
You know, I'm gonna have to go with the same thing for the 81, man. The 81 team.
Okay.
Were we talking about DPI?
No, we're talking about
LMP2.
the
LMP2. Yeah, the 81 team.
All right, and let's move on to the GTL class, the most condensed class of them all. 6 factory backing LMGTEs, 2 Corvette entries, 2 BMWs, and 2 Porsche teams. Which one of them will win in that class?
I think the 911 will win in that class, man.
Okay. My pick, this is kind of interesting. My pick is the number 4 Corvette of Oliver Gavin and Tommy Milner will win in GTLM.
I'm going to go with the number 3 Corvette racing team of 2 veterans behind the wheel, Antonio Garcia and Jordan Taylor. And lastly, the most competitive and diverse class of the field, consisting of 13 GT3s. It's the GT Daytona class. Which one of them is gonna win?
Gosh, I'm thinking. Justin, you go first.
Okay, my pick. This car is the lone. This car is the only one with the. My pick is the only one with the Ferrari engine. My pick is the number 63 Scuderia Corsa, driven by Cooper McNeil and Tony Villander.
Well, I'm gonna go with these guys. I know Lexus has been strong in the Daytona 240 and then the Cadillac Grand Prix of Sebring, but these are 2 American drivers in a Porsche GT3, number 16 Wright Motorsport Porsche, driven by 2 Americans, Ryan Hardwick and Patrick Long.
Ryan Hardwick and Patrick Long.
Number 16.
I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with Ryan Hardwick as well. And Patrick Long. Those guys have been looking up. Those guys are really looking up.
Yep.
Did you get your pick, Justin?
Yeah, the Scuderia Corsa number
yeah.
63.
All right. With that said, I think we have. Oh yeah, let's get into probably uh, the most talked about subject so far, and that is the amount of changes that we've seen in 2020. Well, for this part of 2020, let's start off with the Indy 500 and the IndyCar Series. For the Indy 500, it was announced by the track that 25% capacity will be allowed for maximum capacity. This year's 500, 25% will be allowed in attendance.
Yeah.
More than 95% of pre-race festivities, concerts, parades have been called off.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and people are like, "Oh, I want concerts," but like, well, at least the track is doing something smart. Not like do you know what happened in June in Tennessee? A concert with 20,000 people and nobody had masks on. Yeah, you don't want to do that to make case numbers go up. No, you want to respect guidelines, but people don't want to respect them. To be honest, people are like, I don't give a crap. I should do what I want. Yeah, people just don't care.
With no concern for others around them.
Yeah.
A sad trend.
Yep.
With that, let's go on with the IndyCar changes that 2020 will have, and that, of course, was the removal of Portland
Yep.
and Laguna Seca. And as a result, because Portland and Laguna Seca are off the table, Mid-Ohio will have a doubleheader on the weekend of August 8th and 9th. And after the Indy 500 is over, Gateway will have two 250 races on August 29th and August 30th. But here's the good news. Drivers are now able to enter the 24 Hours of Le Mans if travel suits them. Already, the revised version of the entry list is proven that they're not going to come because obviously they had the Laguna Seca conflict. And anyways, travel is a very big risk and hard to accomplish. But nonetheless, it's there. And same with the Nürburgring 24 Hours. They will have that availability. But obviously, everything's pending traveling, which we've seen affect many teams and drivers lately. A lot of the West Coast races were thrown off for 2020. Portland, Laguna Seca, Long Beach. Of course, Long Beach was off the calendar earlier, canceled. Yeah. So as a result, two races, August 29th, August 30th. And then the Indy Grand Prix in the fall, also known as the Harvest Grand Prix Auto Racing Classic, will have two races.
Well, also, Mid-Ohio will have also two races.
I mentioned that.
Yeah. Mid-Ohio, Gateway, which is Worldwide of Technology Raceway Gateway, and the Harvest GP. Yeah, those three events will have double-header events, and which is, it's just they don't want people to get COVID cases, basically. If you haven't heard anything in this world, like, there was baseball games today that got canceled because of it. Yeah, basically they don't want to risk the drivers and the teams getting sick and all that and have to miss out. Which they don't want to take the risk because people in this world don't give a crap. Like, they don't care, which is a problem. That's why
behavior
will
put you and others at risk. And
like You got to do what you got to do. Social distance in some places, wear your mask and all that. But people say I can't breathe. Like, do you want to know what somebody want? Remember when Ryan Priest crashed? He put his mask on. People say I can't, but Ryan Priest crashed at about 180 miles per hour, got out of the car and put his mask on. And people say I can't put a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I get it. We're trying to be all safe and
They
everything,
want to speak
but
to the manager.
look, yeah. On top of that, but the thing is, there's also a downfall to it too. You're breathing in your own CO2s, which in the long run is not healthy.
But the thing is, it's like and people don't care, and people say I'm gonna yell at the governor, which yelling at the governor is not gonna do anything.
Well, they're the ones that make the
people
laws,
on
but
podcasts
anyways,
on
Yeah.
Fox News.
A lot.
Yeah.
If people yell at the governor, they'll get a fine, and they'll have to pay a lot of money.
And probably
so what's going on in Florida right now, especially in
so
Miami?
Miami, yes, the Miami Marlins, and the Baltimore Orioles.
Orioles.
Did I say Oilers?
Yes, you did. Not the Oilers. That's the Edmonton Oilers.
That will be saved for later this week when hockey comes back. The
Yeah.
Baltimore Orioles and the Miami Marlins were supposed to play in Miami tonight for the home opener of the Marlins season, but there were over 6 people from the Marlins club after their Philadelphia trip that tested positive for the virus.
Oh, wow.
And now they had to cancel the game, and also the game that was in Philly for the Yankees and the Phillies was also called off as well because the Marlins were in that locker room.
Yep.
And the latest report on that is actually, if I'm not mistaken, I have to double check, but it sounds like they're going to do the series at Yankee Stadium. The point here, and why is that relevant to motorsports? This is a reality of sports resuming today. And at least in motorsport, drivers aren't, close to each other on the racetrack. But what's off track, everyone needs to be held accountable and be responsible for what they do off the track so that they can keep people on the track safe.
Yeah.
All right, with that said, IndyCar has a revised schedule. Don't be shocked if it changes again. And that applies to other seasons as well. Now, speaking of schedule changes, the 2020 Formula One World Championship has some new additions to the season.
Yep.
We were at 10 last time we were on the podcast. Now we have 3 new races. What is called the Eiffel Grand Prix at the Nürburgring in Germany.
Yep.
For race 11. Race 11 will be on October 11th. So, and I don't know if they said anything about fans being in attendance. We do know the Nürburgring 24 hours will be held behind closed doors just 2 weeks prior to F1 coming there. The Portuguese Grand Prix on October 25th. Now, mind you, the Portuguese Grand Prix was last ran in 1996 when Jacques Villeneuve took the win in Estoril.
Yep.
It'll be the first time that the Algarve circuit, or known as the Portimao circuit, will be ran in Formula One history. And you know what's ironic? Didn't I mention when the 24 hours of Portimao took place for the 24 series, it was like the very first sports car race to return back in June 15th, that, hey, maybe they should try holding an F1 race there.
Yeah.
It's actually going to happen.
I think that might be a great idea for the FIA to take up. Thank you, Joseph, for that good idea.
My little innuendos sometime come to fruition here. And then last but not least, the return of Imola.
Ah, yes.
Imola.
It has been 14 years, people.
Yes.
14 years since we had an F1 race in Imola.
I tell you,
Way too long.
And the last time it was ran, it used to be called the San
Marino Grand Prix.
Marino Grand Prix.
Yes.
Well,
The track has different layouts, but here's the thing: the San Marino Grand Prix was last ran back in 2006, and it was first ran back in 1981. Imola, the fans there, I don't know if they'll be in attendance,
well,
but I hope they.
I think since the entire thing with COVID and Italy,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, they might be having fans in attendance. I'm hoping they do. That way we can actually have some sort of live action, some live audience from the fans.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure. But if all goes well, bring on Imola.
And also, if people don't remember what happened in that last race at
He disappeared.
Oh gosh, that is not good.
Yeah, well, let's go back to Imola here.
Yeah.
So Justin was talking about the San Marino Grand Prix back in 2006.
Yes.
Well, let's just say Kimi Räikkönen kind of choked.
Oh God, that was
Here you are,
horrible.
Justin.
Okay, I wanted to switch tabs, but the thing about if people don't remember what happened the last time F1 ran at Imola, this driver flipped over Christian Albert's car, and he basically wrecked out, and he basically ruined his whole F1 career. And this driver kind of sucked in F1. Do you want to know who that driver was? Yuji Ide.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was like every week he was slower than Takuma Sato, but like
He lost his super license.
Yeah, because he flipped over Christian Albert's car.
Ouch.
It was also on lap 1, which is more bad when you do it on the first lap. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen this year. People wrecking each other and somebody barrel rolls lap 1. That hopefully everything goes well in that race in October.
Yeah, and remember, Alonso went on to win the championship for Renault. Alonso will be back next year with Renault.
Yep.
Oh God.
What does this mean? I can't wait for 2021.
Oh, hopefully.
As long as it means 2020 can be wiped under the rug and stomped on, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Renault doesn't go complain again for a third week in a row. If they go complain,
Renault needs to do is get themselves faster so other teams complain about them.
Please, get yourself faster at least.
Yeah, and make sure the cars don't break down.
And make sure they're legal.
Yeah. And make sure
they're trying to make Racing Point cars illegal.
And also don't pack there's some at least Renault is not dodgy like Team Dynamics when they were the BTCC. Now Team Dynamics is good, but the old owners, Vic Lee Racing, where he would pack drugs in the gas cylinders, because the Netherlands, they would test there and put that because UK wouldn't allow it, but over there in the Netherlands you were allowed, so they would do that, and then he got arrested at the end of 1992.
The BTCC.
Yep.
That was some good times in touring car.
Yep.
Because that was when really all the star drivers for F1 would literally make cameo appearances like every week. And then even Murray Walker become a staple for them.
Yep.
Speaking of which, Murray Walker should be knighted.
Yeah, he should.
I stand by that. Unfortunately, there was some sad news in the racing world. Ralph Ligori passed away at the age of 93, an IndyCar driver for the wrong reasons. Missing the Indy 500 record amount of times. And of course, Regis Philbin, TV host.
Yeah.
Many NASCAR drivers that won the Daytona 500 after their win in that same week, they'll bring him on. They would bring him on the show. Regis was 88. Of course, Brandon White. Now, he was a Penny Series driver related to Derek and Jason White.
Yep.
Passed away at 46.
Yep.
See. And
Bob Bear.
Bob Bear.
Oh, yep.
It was a sad week in racing. Let's see who else was.
Maurice Petty. That was.
Maurice Petty. I was about to get there. Maurice Petty was
81.
81. Now he was the younger brother
of
Richard Petty, one of the greatest mechanics of all times for the team. But he was also an unsuccessful driver.
Yeah.
Who turned a new leaf in racing and decided to continue on with the sport and help the family team achieve monumental records.
Yep.
And then you heard about Brad Campbell, who succumbed to injuries from a car accident last week at the Texas Motors, driving to Texas Motor Speedway.
Yep.
Which was very, very sad. He was 34 years old. Also, some other news that happened in this past weekend. Yeah, I mentioned the Nürburgring 24 hours will be held without fans. What does that mean for F1? We'll have to find out. Oh, Formula One, with those 3 races announced, all 3 events in the Americas are called off. The Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the Brazil Grand Prix at Interlagos in Sao Paulo, and the U.S. Grand Prix at Austin, Texas, at the Circuit of the Americas.
Yeah, because in Canada, where I live, which there's no F1 tracks, obviously, there's not many cases. But when you enter Montreal, the Quebec, that's where it gets bad. Their cases are moving up. Their case numbers are going through the roof. In Canada, that's the worst province for case numbers is Quebec. That's why F1 there is not going to happen. The United States, it's a lot. Which, do you want to know how much of the world population get? 1/3 of the case numbers are from the U.S. 1/3. And also the thing about is travel restrictions.
And it has intense travel restrictions right now.
Yeah, and some people don't respect that because the other week there was a person on a plane with his mask over his eyes. Instead of
how blind could you be? Literally.
And there's a person that got kicked off a plane for not wearing a mask, and it was people called that person Karen. Those people that don't want to wear a mask, but
they have to suffer the consequences. I mean, that's
if you don't want to wear it, they'll kick you off the flight.
Yeah, no refund. Too bad.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah. I forgot to mention. Acura, DPI, and Team Penske will split after 2020. They won the overall championship of the Weather Sports Car Championship, the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship last year with Dan Cameron and Juan Pablo Montoya. Is this a win-win situation, or will Acura actually lose out on something?
I feel like it's kind of good for Penske because the thing about Acura, if people don't know, Acura is run by Honda in the U.S. They basically run that. But Penske, they run Chevy in the IndyCar series. if Penske wants, they could switch to Cadillac if they wanted to, because Cadillac is GM, part of General Motors, which Penske, I feel like if Penske without Acura, they're still going to be good because they have the experienced drivers, and the Cadillacs are not slow. You saw Wayland Engineering winning, and the Konica Minolta DPI. Those cars are, yeah, they're really good. So even if Penske
and also
wants to,
Acura, this was a short-term deal. It worked out on the short term, but on the long term, the NSX GT3 should be the priority when it comes to Honda / Acura. But as for Penske, it was a good little deal. What they could do, and I know that Porsche is in trouble with their GTE team, their factory team, they could bring a Porsche DPI program into fruition. When they ran prototypes back in the American Le Mans Series 15 or so years ago, they ran Porsches and found success. So I think there is a chance for that. If Acura continues with DPIs, they should create their own factory team. With that said, they should focus on the factory team or just focus on the NSX GT3 programs, which they have going on all over the globe. With that said, that makes up for a good silly season. We'll have to find out. Many things to look forward to. Don't let all the negativity fool you. There's a lot of garbage on social media and just on TV. Sometimes your eyes can only filter out so much.
And people that are known, like popular people
that want attention. Yes.
People like rich people, billionaires that are politicians, posting about random things and
don't let them fool you.
Like drinking bleach. No, don't do that.
Okay, Justin.
No, just saying, don't do it.
Bleach. Don't do it.
Well, people did it with not the brightest. Just don't do that stuff.
And also, not everything you see that comes from a blue check mark is
real
or the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But with that said, continue to watch our podcast. We'll go on to episode 70 next week.
Yep.
Stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Tune into the races. Hey, tune in. IMSA's on regular NBC, so good for people that don't want to pay for cable.
Oh, and you know what? To sports return, the NBA, the NHL.
Yep.
Go Panthers, go Bruins. Danny, I don't know if you're there.
Hopefully,
aren't gonna win.
Hopefully, Bobrovsky doesn't choke. Basically, I know Montreal's gonna choke because it's obvious they're gonna do bad.
They're lucky that the 2014 format even happened.
Well, the exhibition games are starting tomorrow, which Montreal's playing Toronto, which that's not going to go well for Montreal. Toronto is obviously going to win against Montreal because Montreal sucks.
Yeah. Sorry.
Montreal's just bad at hockey.
What are you smiling about, Joseph? Are you talking about Islanders?
About how they're going to be falling short to the Florida Panthers.
Excuse me? Okay. We'll save this for another day.
Yes, when we come back for the Below the Yellow Line podcast, we'll be talking about how the Florida Panthers have a 1-0 series lead.
Oh my god.
And we'll be looking to go 2-0 on August 4th when we come back on August 3rd. With that said, thanks for watching the Below the Yellow Line podcast. For my partners, Daniel Ford, Justin Hebert, I'm Joe Laney Powell.